Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and we're glad to have you here on Making It Work today. And I'm Kevin, and we want to take a look at a couple of things today. I've been doing a lot of market study over the last couple of months, since really since the end of the year, since GPUs have just been so crazy and out of whack, and even memory modules as well. Really it doesn't matter which platform that you've been on. If you've been on Intel or on AMD, both of them are affecting both sides. And so we saw the APUs come out from Ryzen here. I guess probably about 5-6 weeks ago, something like that. And there's a lot of anticipation for next group of Ryzen processors coming out next month in April. Those are expected to release in April. And so I've been watching the GPU pricing for over these last 3 months, I guess you'd say. And there's been a lot of news that I've seen that's been released, and a lot of folks are talking about maybe GPU prices starting to loosen up some. So I been kind of keeping my eye on it this week, and so I went out today and was looking at a couple of things and found a couple of interesting comparisons. So let's jump over here and take a look at those real quick. I went in today for most people that are looking to put together a gaming PC are going to be want to be somewhere in the Ryzen 5 platform, 6-core processor, that type of thing. Ryzen 5 really seems to be the sweet spot in Ryzen side for gaming, and so that puts you in a 6-core 12-thread processor, overclockable. And so basically I have gone in here and I have created a system based on a Ryzen 5 1600. Now these have been out for a while now, and they've had some great feedback on them. A lot of folks that have been using these have really liked them. And so I've gone through and basically put together a solid system. Ryzen 5 you can easily overclock on a B350 motherboard set without spending the extra dollars to be able to go into the up into the 370 and the X370 line. And so therefore it seems to really work out well to stick to the B350 side and help save some money there as well. So, and as you know, on the Ryzen side you can definitely save some money over Intel if you try to compare cores and threads together. Now I do know and understand that on Intel, when you try to compare both these, you're going to be in the i7 line, and you can get a little more performance out of that chip than you can from the AMD side. But on the AMD side you can definitely save money. So with markets being the way they are, most folks are looking to try to save what they can when they do build a system. So real quick, let's go through and take a look at this. I've got the Ryzen 5 1600 dropped in. Again, this is unlockable, easy processor to overclock, and so those are running you 168.70 right now. There's a $20 rebate on that, and again, these rebates are through promotion codes are starting to drop because Ryzen 2s are getting ready to come out. So we're going to probably see some pretty good deals on some of these units out here. Picked up an Asus Strix B350. This is a solid motherboard. It's got some great 5-star reviews, over 44 reviews on this board here as well, and this one's through Newegg. And again, it's got some promo rebates running on that as well. So normally that board will run you 110. That's down to about 90 bucks, and this is a solid board by Asus, and that's on the Strix B350 line. And I got a set of 16 gig G.Skill Ripjaws 5. This is a DDR4 3000. Most of these memory modules now are working no problems in the Ryzen platforms, since there's been a good bit of BIOS updates over this last year, and there was a significant amount of BIOS updates that came out at the very first part of this year, prepping a lot of the existing motherboards for the next set of Ryzen processors, the Raven Ridge APUs and that kind of stuff that's has released this year already, and the other stuff that's coming out as well. And so that's really added a lot of flexibility to a lot of this memory that's out there and available today. Just for storage itself, I've dropped in a 240 SSD. it's kind of crazy to even build a machine now and not drop an SSD. And SSDs really are very reasonable price now for what you get. So this is a 240 gig from SanDisk for $70, and you know, I've used these. These are solid drives. They work great. You can get something that gives you a little bit faster response, maybe a second, but you know, to me, it's not worth paying another $30 to pick up a second of response time just on booting. So you know, to me, an SSD is an SSD. And then I've also just dropped in some raw file storage. It's a Seagate Barracuda, just a 2 terabyte drive there for $60. Now, here's what I want us to get at right here. This is a EVGA GeForce. This is the GTX 1070. And this is the 8 gig. It's a super clocked gaming edition. All right, so this is an EVGA card. And, you know, just want us to take a look at this real quick. Now, these are down in the 540, 550 range. Now, these cards right here were running $700, $800, $900, you know, really just a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And just to give you an idea, you know, PC Part Picker's got some pretty useful little tools when you get into looking at some of these price histories. But, you know, you can just look through there and you can just see what the trend was. Now, if you go back to last year, you know, around Black Friday, which, you know, GPU prices were pretty reasonable at that point, I think. You know, it showed that Newegg had this particular GPU running at $439 back then. And then it just, you know, it went crazy. It was going up into the $600, $700, $800. Sometimes they would peak up over $1,000. I don't know who would pay over that kind of price for these, but you know, that was definitely the case, and it was kind of all over the board. And occasionally you could find them that were reasonably priced, but normally if somebody was looking for a card, they grabbed it pretty quick. So if you found a deal one day, it was gone the next. But it really looks like these are really starting to come down in pricing. And so this is a 1070, and that is it's an 8 gig card. And so this is going to give you tons of performance. You can easily push 1440 through this card, no problem at all. And you know, a lot of people still aren't doing 4K. You got a handful of people that are that, you know, they have the extra cash to spend on the hardware right now, but a lot of people don't. And so a lot of people are still running 1080. This will definitely push you in 1440, no problem, and give you some great performance as well. And then just for a case, I've got a Fantex. It's Eclipse P400S tempered glass. They're running some deals on these cases. I mean, you can get this case for under $50, and I mean, these are fantastic cases. Tempered glass. You can run, you know, top radiator mounted cooling if you want. Run it in the front. It's got some integrated RGB lighting in the case, and you know, Fantex makes a great product. And so, solid case. You know, they're nice units, and for the price, you know, really you can't beat them. I mean, you got some great options in these units, and you can do a lot of stuff with them and do a lot of expandability and all in there. So for the price, it's kind of hard to beat that. And then just, you know, I've got a EVGA Supernova. This is the 550. This is a 80 plus gold. It's fully modular for, you know, $60. Again, there's a lot of rebates and codes that are running on stuff right now, especially through Newegg. So, but right now you can build this Ryzen 5 1600 with 16 gigs of RAM and with a GTX 1070 in it for under $1,300, for under $1,250. And you know, I built a Ryzen 7 machine at the end of last year. I ordered all the parts in December, and you know, that machine, I had almost $1,200 in it, and it didn't have a 1070. And so I went with an RX card in that one, and it's a great machine. I love it. Now, I did get more processor than what is here, but other than that, really, it's pretty comparable to what's in this build here as well. So, but real quick, let's jump over and let's look at the. So 1250 is what we're looking at on the for Ryzen 5. So let's jump over and let's see what it would run us on Intel. Now, in order to go 6 cores, 12 threads, we have to go into the i7 line. So this is 8700K unlockable. So you got a base clock of 3.7. Now this processor here, you can definitely overclock and push this. Now you can get more performance out of this unit because this has just out of the box max turbo 4.7, so it's already going to outperform that Ryzen 5 unit. But you know, it is going to be higher wattage. It is going to output more. You are going to have a you're going to have to buy a cooler to go with this one versus the 1600 comes with a stock cooler that works really, really well. But I've seen where people have easily overclocked and pushed this up to 5 gigahertz. So, but you know, in order to drop that unit in, you know, you're looking at $333 on the processor cost alone, and then of course you got to pick up something to keep that processor cool. So I went in and I selected the Pure Rock from Be Quiet. This is a fantastic unit, and you know, for $40 it's going to do a great job for air cooling, especially even if you know, you overclock on this CPU depending on how far you push it. For the motherboard, I've gone with a Z370. This is the Asus ROG Strix. Now again, you're having to invest more here being on this platform. You don't have as many you don't have quite the options to save that you do over on the AMD Ryzen side, and so this one here is going to run you 150 on this board, but it's a nice board, and you'll definitely be able to run and push and do your overclocks and all that no problem on this unit as well. So and in these builds, I haven't really gone, you know, theme or color. I'm just mainly looking at what we can get as far as good performance for the price. But some of the same items are being used between both builds. All I've done is changed out the couple of primary areas, which would be your processor, and then if we had, and of course we had to change the motherboard. RAM still would work either way. I was able to find a little bit cheaper RAM kit to go into this one that I know will work, but of course we had to pick up a cooler as well. So but for memory, we got a set of Ripjaws 5. Again, this is 16 gig. It's really no difference, DDR 3000. But I did find this you know, a deal on some of this was a little bit cheaper, so you can get that at $165. I'm running the same storage, the same SSD, and the same mechanical drive in there, same video card. Once again, we're running the EVGA GeForce GTX 1070, and that's the super clocked edition. And then on this case is just a little bit different than the other one. Again, it's a Fantex, it's an Eclipse P400S, and this one's just an all black one. The other one had some white accent trim, same price, it's no different. But I just made it just a little bit different than the other build. And then we're running the same power supply. This unit here is going to run you right at $1,500. So you're looking at about $250 difference. But in that $250, you are going i7. So, you know, you're going to have the same cores, same threads, but you are going to have more processing power there. So definitely you're going to have more performance out of the system for $250. And of course, you are going on a Z370 motherboard here instead of being over on the AMD platform. And, you know, that's dropping in aftermarket air cooling. But other than that, you know, I mean, this will make a jam up build as well. So that's an i7 running a 1070 for about $1,500. So again, the prices aren't all the way down to where they used to be. These, you know, the 1070s, you know, some of those before the market kind of went nuts there towards the end of the year. Some of those were running around $400 for a good strong 1070. So they're still a little bit elevated, but we're not at the point that we were where they were running $700, $800, $900 for those. Now there are still some of the 1080s and some of the TI lines that are still elevated some, but you know, I did look at some 1060s. Those are down into the 300s again, and those had been elevated up as well. So we are starting to see a lot of that begin to release, and those prices starting to come back down. So hopefully, probably by next month, I'm anticipating when the new Ryzen line releases and those come out, hopefully we'll see also some additional cost savings in GPUs. And then I have seen some of the RAM pricing starting to loosen up a little bit as well. It hasn't been drastic, but probably $10, $15, $20, but it all adds up in the end, doesn't it? So, but anyway, we're glad you're able to join me today for this video, and hope you found this information interesting. And I'm trying to get my hands on some equipment here pretty soon, so I can work on some more builds and get some other things put out. So I got a couple of projects that I'm wanting to work on, and hopefully get some information onto the channel here. So, but anyway, thanks for watching today. I appreciate you following along, and be sure to hit the subscribe button. And I do appreciate all your feedback, and thanks to everyone who's been asking a lot of questions on some of my other videos as well. And feel free to leave me a comment down below. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.